Good evening, welcome to a Foreigner in the Philippines. A recent letter that we received for inviting some input, advice, however you want to put that, came from our friends on Bingala Travel in the Philippines. Roger and our friends Roger and Bing run their own channel there and are growing fast. They were very kind to us, and we are in close contact with them. We're good friends. We enjoy being good friends, and so they did when they invited us up to stay at the waterfront hotel next to the airport. We went up there and joined them, and we had dinner. Can't remember, dinner or lunch, one of those, and then breakfast the next morning. And we did an interview, very happily did an interview, which apparently has been very successful, and a lot of people have liked it, especially in the absence of being able to make any comments on our channel right now. I would like to tell you yet again that it is not our idea, it is not what we want to do, it's what YouTube are doing, and they are in the process apparently of, and I have read out the letter that they sent to us, they're in the process of going through the literally hundreds of thousands or millions of pages on different YouTube channels. So the letter that they sent us was of a lady who said that she thought that her problem with her husband, who is an American, was that he just hated when they went out. They lived in Mindanao, and he just hated being called Joe. Now one of the things that you have to get used to is that people will call you Joe. I don't know. I don't know how you can get around that. You can't, of course, get around it. You have to come to terms with it in your own way of dealing with it. But it seems to me that it is indicative of a deeper rooted problem. It's not about an aversion to the name Joe. It's about a lot of things, and it is what variously we've heard described as the snowball effect, the domino effect, one thing leading to another. There's a million phrases out there which actually, what about the straw that broke the camel's back? And I'm thinking that this all starts when you first come to the Philippines. Now, I get wonderful letters from men who have found a way to start again, and I try to say that that's really what we're talking about when you come to the Philippines, to live and to retire and to stay here permanently. This is going to be your home. Well, I think that what happens is that there is a great deal of magic in having this opportunity. We're really not talking about having a second chance or a third chance or however many at marriage. We're really talking about another chance in life. And very often when a man reaches 60, he certainly has given up, usually has probably given up all idea of having a family. And then he comes to this country, and suddenly everything is just turned upside down. Now, in doing it, this I believe is what happens, and I am tempted to think about the old movie, the old Hollywood movie, The 7-Year Itch. And 7 years was statistically, apparently, a time, a period, a moment, when a man, at least, we're talking in this case about a guy, so the 7 years is the point at which he starts to say, did I make a terrible mistake here? So that's when a lot of guys make some very drastic changes. And who knows, men who get out here for their second chance at the life may have been on the 7-year itch and come out and made some drastic changes. I remember a long time ago when I was traveling in the south of France, went down to a little place called Saint Raphael, which is in the south of France on the Mediterranean. Beautiful little place, very unspoiled back then, Fréjus. And I was there with a girlfriend, and we met an American who certainly probably wasn't as old as me. But he was retired. He had made enough money to be able to just decide that he was going to live in France. Now, what happened for him, and he described the life that I remember saying to him, wow, how could you leave that life behind? He was a stereotypical American, stereotypical nice guy American, right? Probably about 6'2", still in good shape, liked to dress nicely, and probably was in his 60s, maybe 60 to 65. And he said that it almost literally happened that his kids were gone, they'd all left the nest, they had a beautiful house in the desert outside Los Angeles. Him and his wife had good jobs, were earning great money, and were pretty well taken care of financially. And they just got to a point where they looked at each other, this wouldn't be literally, but one day they looked at each other and said, it's over. We both want different things. And so they parted the best of friends, maybe not the best of friends, but they parted friends. They divided everything equitably. It wasn't the usual divorce that I heard about in America they split everything down the middle, 90-10, and guess who gets the 10? So they actually did split everything down the middle, and they both came out. They sold the house, sold the cars. He was traveling in maybe an hour every day to work in his air-conditioned Cadillac, and had what most people, certainly me at the time as a young man, thought that would be a heck of a life. But he decided that it wasn't. And then he sold up. He, I'm guessing, packed a couple of bags, came out to San Rafael, out on the Mediterranean, beautiful weather, and a very laid-back lifestyle. He bought a scooter, didn't even have a car. He bought a scooter, and we met him, I think, on the beach, and chatted, and we made friends, and I learned a lot about how at certain stages of a life a man and a woman start to think things differently. Now, when someone comes out at that age on the same kind of tack as that man, and they come to the Philippines, they come with a different kind of view, because usually money has something to do with it, but not always. But of course, as a proviso, when you're coming out here, you really do need to have the money to be able to live, no matter how modestly. And depending on the money that you have to live on, your lifestyle will be underlined. So if you're coming out here and you've got, say, let me pick a figure. if you've got $5,000 a month to live on, $5,000 a month, you'll be able to choose a life probably in the city, if that's what you want, and you'll be able to live very, very, very comfortably. A lifestyle that you would choose that perhaps in many ways would not be so different to how you had lived in America or wherever you had come from. So you come out here, and initially the love of a beautiful woman and someone that you feel is finally the one, your soulmate. People come out here and then in some miraculous way they see things in a totally clear-minded way. Now we're not talking now about the people that come out here and do the bars in fields in Los Angeles and end up losing their shirt. Okay, so we're not talking about the sad stories. We're talking about someone who comes out, meets somebody, or has already met somebody, commits to having a new life, is able to afford to do that without worrying about money. That's a key thing. So you're coming out here, you have a lovely woman who probably is, and I'm one to talk, is a great deal younger than you, has a whole different energy level for life, and is going to carry you to a different way of thinking. I don't think there's any question about this, unless of course you resist it. But for those who come out and they're caught up in the magic of the opportunity of having this change in life so late in life, then you will come out and you will be in a state of rapture for a number of years. Now, during that time, initially, you'll come to terms with many things. You'll come to terms, if you're in the provinces, with you can't get your car repaired that well. They may not have things very basic to running a vehicle wisely, like wheel balancing and wheel alignment, and especially if you're able to afford a more modern truck or car, being able to do the computer servicing that you can take for granted in say America. So the servicing, right? You may be living in an area like we are, where it's very heavy on the vehicle, so tires. We replace tires at an alarming rate because of the rocky road that we have to go, and if you follow the videos, as I always say, you'll know about this. So we're in a sea-based place. No matter where we go on the island, we're never that far from the ocean, never that far from water. So rust can be a problem, so deterioration in that way, right? Going to a dentist may be a problem. Getting healthcare may be a problem. Making yourself understood, even to your loved one, may be a problem. Okay? If you haven't got the wherewithal up here to, or even here, to speak the language, learn it and speak it effectively, making yourself understood will be an issue. Now, if you go to live somewhere like our friend that we did the advice on, he lives in Mindanao, and one of the problems for him is that there are not many foreigners in his area. So what is he missing? He's missing a support system. As I said on that advice video, you know, sometimes when things are going rough, it's nice to be able to just get in the car and go over to Harry or Sid's place and sit there and have a coffee or a beer and just chew the fat, you know, just talk and be understood in your own language. So all of these things, all of this thing of, let me just enumerate some of the things that you're going to have to put up with. You might not be able to get things like tools, depending on what you want. So tools for the job you might not be able to get. If you go out and have some work done by local craftsmen, if they are, as I've said on many occasions, if they're like the Superman team, these are rustic craftsmen. They can put a house together in 3 or 4 days using the most basic of materials. You will be able to order a cut list for the house or building that you're constructing, and you can order that through Tmall if you're here and you're me, and what he does is he works out exactly what we'll be needing, and then that list is given to a team of guys with chainsaws, and what they do is they go out clutching that list, which they pretty well know at a glance. They can look at it like this and say, oh yes, it's a house that is so many feet by so many feet, so it's going to need so many posts, the 4x4s, sort of like this, so it's going to need either 4 or 6 of those, and then it's going to need the 2x4s, it's going to need some fascia, and they know exactly what it is, but they're armed with a string line, a tape measure, and a chainsaw. So, is your 6x2 piece of timber 6x2 at every point? I don't think so. But you've got your lovely lady, so why would you worry about that? Okay, now you go into town and you need oil for your car, and you pull into a gas station and you fill up, and then you say, and I'd like a litre of oil. We don't have oil, sir. Well, but you're a garage, and so now you get back into your car with your lovely lady and you say, well, maybe I don't get oil, but I have my lovely lady. And then you go to a restaurant, and you get to the restaurant and they serve your meal before they serve your wife's meal, and your wife sits there for maybe 20 minutes watching you eat your meal, and then she gets hers. But maybe it's the other way around, and you're waiting and you really can't understand this, and then one of the items that you have ordered after you've been waiting there for 15 minutes, they come up and say it's out of stock. See, so you go and you order things, go like I did when I first came here 5 years ago, couldn't find Band-Aids. Was I looking in the wrong place? Maybe, but I thought that it was the right place because I only went round the drugstores. Out of stock. So all of this, if you want to go, if you're on an island like we are, of Bohol, and you want to go and see a movie, a particular movie, you might have to take a ferry to get there, or do a 2.5 hour drive in order to go, in our case, to Tagbilaran. And if you're a foreigner, you might have to sit through yet another movie which is in Tagalog. So all of this, when you first get here, you do because you have your lovely lady, and this is magical. It's my second chance at life, and I am just going to embrace it. So you go along day by day, you go along month by month, year by year, and then one day you get up in the morning and you go out and you've got a flat tire, and that's when you find out that the guy who replaced your tire the last time has put the nuts on so tight that an extension bar of 6 or 7 feet would not take it off. But so you skin your knuckles a few times on that, and then you find out that that you're short on oil and don't have any spare, because the last time that you went in and had it earmarked must ask for oil. And so there you go down, and on the way you get mugged down in the mud, and gradually it all mounts up. And now you've started to say, God damn, this Philippines, why is it like this in the Philippines? And you look at your wife and suddenly she's just another person. She's not some wonderful, I don't know, angel in human guise. She's a wife. She's your wife, who you committed to love for the rest of your second chance in life. And then, after you've had your flat tire, managed to get it done, managed to skin only 2 of your knuckles, go in, order up your food, wait half an hour while that Filipino waiter, who doesn't seem to have any training at all, is taking half an hour to get your food, even when your wife has already eaten hers. Right, and then finally when it comes through, instead of having French fries, they haven't got any How can you not have French fries? It's just potatoes. But they're out of stock. So you have to have rice. Again, it's Filipino. It's a Filipino obsession with rice. If they don't have rice, they're going to die. They're going to have headaches. They're just going to be sick. They've got to have rice. And you don't have to have rice. You would like to have French fries, for God's sake. And is that too much? And then finally, when you walk out because you said, I'm not waiting any longer, as you get into your car, somebody says, Hi, Joe. Now, things don't look so great, do they? But what's happened is, it's the accumulation of all of those little things coming together, which you were so willing to suppress. This is the operative word, is that instead of coming to terms and accepting and understanding all of those little changes in your life, your second chance at life, you suppressed, instead of actually coming to terms with them. Like going into the hardware store and asking for a pair of tin snips, and they don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you get angry with them. Now, have we missed something here? Now, where am I? I'm in the Philippines, and who am I? Well, I'm the foreigner. Why would anybody expect to go into a foreign country and get angry because they don't speak your language? Let me tell you, if you go to France, certainly the last time that I was there, the French are very, very fussy about their language, and they don't think, little upstarts that they are, that someone should come into their country and say, so, yeah, you speak English? And they say, no. Because they don't like it when someone thinks that they should speak English. And that's what happens here, is that maybe somebody there thinks, well, hell, you know, I don't speak English, but then I don't need to. I'm Filipino. So the accumulation is finally at a point where you might call it critical mass. Critical mass is that moment in time, in situation, in circumstance, where everything that can possibly go wrong is going wrong. So, if you haven't learned during this time to come to terms, to bring understanding, to bring tolerance, to bring the realization of your position in the country, then it will accumulate because you're suppressing things. Now, when you suppress something, you know, if you take a beach ball and you're at the swimming pool, you can take that beach ball and you can push it down below the surface. And as soon as you let go, what happens? It goes pop. And maybe that's what you've done with all of those things that you found wrong, but in a way just suppressed, thinking of them as being important because you have your angel. It's the beach ball underneath the water and it's coming up. It is bound to come up. The only variable, I think, would be fair to say, it depends on your level of tolerance as to how long you can continue to suppress. Now, when I was watching television, maybe a couple of years ago now, I distinctly remember a report that came through on the news, and it said that a man, I believe in Cebu, was working, and I've given this example because it's so extreme. He was working nights, and just as he's got into bed, about 8 o'clock at night, or 7 maybe, 7 in the morning, somebody starts karaoke. Karaoke is one of those things that you might have to come to terms with because it is a secondary religion for most Filipinos. Give any Filipino a karaoke machine and set them loose with a drink, be it Coke or be it rum and Coke, and you will have a happy, very happy Filipino. They love to go on karaoke. Well, this person needed to get some sleep, and he hears the karaoke get cranked up within easy earshot because it was about at 90 decibels, which is about what a jet engine is, around 90 or 110 decibels. And he gets out of bed and he storms round to see his neighbour, who is determined to share his good music, whether you like it or not. And he points out, I'm trying to get some sleep and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And they have a little exchange, and then the man goes back to his bed. And in retrospect, what happens is that the man who has been offended about his voice, he roots through a drawer and finds a gun, and I don't know how many bullets it had, but you only need one, don't you? And he marches around and he shoots his neighbour for complaining. Now, it would be wise to think that probably he had been suppressing things that were said about his karaoke skills, and instead of coming to terms with the fact that he's not either Luciano Pavarotti or Frank Sinatra, he's suppressed it. So it ends badly. As my battery has now gone flat, I'm going to have to let you go, and I'm sure that you'll be much relieved. Thanks for looking in. Bye for now.